Okay, so I'm in the driver's seat, and driving an RV is a little different. First of all, the dash, it's very basic. There's not a whole lot going on here. The things to keep in mind is when you are starting it and say it won't turn over, it's got this nice little feature that I'm really happy about, and that's this auxiliary start. So what that's going to do is you just press this button, and it's going to draw from, basically you're jumping the car with the batteries that are for the coach. So that's really handy. If for some reason the battery is dying, you can hit this button and get a jump from yourself. So that's really cool. Lights, you'll just pull this out to turn the lights on. My wife has had problems pulling this out and not illuminating, so just be mindful of that. It might take a small adjustment or something, just a little tap or something, I don't know. Anyway, then your air conditioning, you've got AC, we've got vent. This is bi-level, which stands for both the vent and the floor. So these are more of your vents, and then there's other floor ones underneath. And then obviously the defrost. You may want to take this cover off for the defrost to work, because that's where your defrost is going. Probably won't be using that too much in the summer. And then you can recycle the air or recirculate the air from that. Obviously cold and hot, high and low. So there's the heater. This is just regarding music. So when you park, this, you can make it so that the stereo will stay on. And notice I pressed and held that stereo button to turn that on. So if you're traveling though, notice that it's turning off. And so when you're getting in and out of the vehicle or whatever, you probably want the stereo to turn off. So that's what the travel button is versus the park, meaning you can keep playing or leave this on even when you're parked. We may have talked about the generator. This is where you can start it right from here. You'll press and hold. It'll show, this will illuminate once it's on, and this will start counting down when the time is on. You can hold it down for, say, 10 seconds even, until it starts. And if not after that, then give it a rest a second and try it again. So cigarette lighter. This is actually pulling from the main battery. So also we got the mirrors over here. So this has a nice feature where it can actually turn heat towards the mirrors. Obviously you want to flip this switch to the right to change the angle of the right mirrors, to the left to change the left. Something to note when you're driving, a couple things, is really look at both mirrors, both sides. This mirror right here is a lifesaver, obviously, because this top mirror, you're not going to see the cars that are right next to you. You really want to make sure you're looking at that bottom mirror if you're going to change lanes. So, and same with back. You want to look at that lower mirror to make sure there's no cars in your lane, because it is kind of hard to tell, especially when you're passing somebody, that you've cleared them. So usually I kind of just judge that I can see them in both mirrors, then I'm probably far enough. But just be very cautious of that. It is very tricky driving a vehicle this long. So anyway, keep that in mind. Another thing, corners, because you're so long, you're not going to be driving the same. You're gonna want to take the corner slow, or say you're at a stop light or turn light or something and you're stopped and you're taking off. A lot of times in a car, you'll just kind of push on through and go straight through. Well, because you're such a big vehicle, you'll want to ease it through the corners, or else you're going to have all your stuff be flying off the shelf. It only took me once to learn that quickly. So anyway, there's a few hints about driving. It is really fun. It drives really good, but also keep in mind when it's windy out, this is a big sail and there's only, well, 6 tires. It could move around. Okay, there's a few more things. We're gonna go over the wiper. Well, you just go up. Turn signal down. This is the wiper that operate it. Go this direction to spray some mist, or you can even push this. Actually, that's how you have the wiper fluid come out. You spray that. So the cruise control works. If you press or indent this button here, that will set it at the speed that you're going. You got to be going faster than 30 miles an hour to use this cruise. And you have to have it on, obviously. When you press or indent it this way, That's either when you hit the brake and you want to resume, or when you're at the speed, you can also add or increase the speed. So that's what the RA stands for, resume or add more speed. So that's the cruise control. It does work. It's really nice, especially if you're on really long trips and you're just sitting there enjoying the view and the road. And yeah, so that's that. In order to operate the hazard, you actually just push this in and your hazards will start blinking. There's not really a sound up here. I don't know if that's normal or not, but anyway, keep that in mind. They are flashing. And then to disengage, you just pull that out. So
use that if you're going extra slow up a hill. And always be aware of the temperatures, because with so much weight, it can get pretty hot. Turn off your air conditioning, run the AC from the generator in the back instead of from the dash if you're having trouble with the heat.
And yeah, especially big loads going up a hill. This is the temperature for the
Engine.
Yeah. The park brake is here, so you pull it out to park or push it in to go. You will not be able to move when this is pulled out. So if you're like, it won't go anywhere, well, it's probably because this is engaged. So press it in to release it and you'll be able to start moving again. So let's see, and then there's this little handy thing to get in and out a little bit easier. So there's that. It has 4 gears: drive, overdrive, drive, and 2 and 1. And when you're going down a hill, a lot of times, if I'm close to the 30 mile an hour, just over 30 mile, I'll put it all the way down to 2, and that'll really help me slow down. If I'm going faster than that, I don't know, it's just too much or something. So just I kind of work it down slow. When I'm going less than or around 10, I'll even put it down to 1, and that'll really help slow down or slow me down rather than relying on the brake so much. So get used to using that. It's really helpful to slow down, and especially when you're in a big vehicle like this. The brake may feel different than what you're used to in a car. A small car especially, I mean, you just hardly touch it and it'll stop. Well, this, you're going to be applying the brake. It will stop with the brake. The brakes are really good, but I really do like using the engine or the gears to slow me down. So.
Which is really important if you're going to be going down a long stretch of downhill, because the brakes can overheat so easily and you don't want to burn out those brakes.
Oh, yeah.
That's something that you would be responsible for, because that's something that you would cause. The brakes are in great shape, so just don't ride them.
Yeah, if you know you're approaching a big hill, take it slow. Like, this thing will catch up speed, and before you know it, you could get out of control. So go slow. We actually live on a hill, and I'll take the hill just as slow at the top, because yeah, it does pick up speed. So use the engine, keep it slow. So keep always a future look of where you're going, what you're doing. You really want to think ahead when you're driving this big of a vehicle. Same with parking, where you're going to pull in, because you don't want to get in a tight spot and it's going to be really hard to back out. So be forward thinking where you're going and where you're going to be and end up at. So
let's also talk about backing out. You always want to have someone in your mirror behind you backing you out. Take a thorough walk around before you back out, and then use your passenger to help you back so that you make sure to clear everything.
Yeah, I always have a window open, someone in my mirror, and usually I'll have a kid on the rear bed looking out, just to be my eyes, just to see if there's something funky going on that I'm not catching on. Because usually the person that's in the mirror, I might not be able to hear them very well because the engine, and they're so far away. So definitely have somebody outside backing you up. This doesn't have rear cameras on it or anything, so definitely have someone outside backing you up.